Well, it has become the big political debate this week, and we've uncovered some new details today about the president and his campaign's argument that Mitt Romney would not have given the order to kill Osama bin Laden. It all started when the Obama campaign released an ad questioning whether Governor Romney would have gone after bin Laden, pointing out, quote, Mitt Romney criticized Barack Obama for vowing to strike al-Qaeda targets inside Pakistan if necessary. When challenged on the ad and whether it was appropriate, President Obama, at a joint press conference with the Japanese Prime Minister yesterday, said this.
As far as my personal role and what other folks would do, I just recommend that everybody take a look at people's previous statements in terms of whether they thought it was appropriate to go into Pakistan and take out bin Laden. I assume that people meant what they said when they said it. That's been at least my practice.
Governor Romney said yesterday that, of course, he would have given that order. And then we did some digging and found out, as we mentioned to you yesterday, that the criticism may not have played out exactly the way portrayed in that Obama campaign ad. All right, so here is first the radio interview that Mitt Romney gave back in 2007 that it seems the president's reelection team was referring to.
I do not concur in the words of Barack Obama in a plan to enter an ally of ours in their country in a manner complete with bombing and so forth. I don't think those kind of comments help in this effort to draw more friends to our effort. But certainly there is a war being waged by terrorists of different types and nature across the world, and we want, as a civilized world, to participate with other nations in this civilized effort to help those nations reject the extreme within them.
You disagree with the suggestion of sending troops in?
I think his comments were ill-timed and ill-considered.
And then there was more, but I want to bring in our panel. Leslie Marshall, who's a syndicated radio talk show host and a Fox News contributor, and Lars Larson, who is a syndicated radio host with Compass Media Networks. So Mitt Romney made those remarks on that radio show back August 3rd of 2007. Here we are in, it was April 28th or so, that the president, 2012, that the president's reelection campaign comes out with an ad suggesting, based on those comments, that Mitt Romney would not have given the order to go into Pakistan and take out bin Laden. We went back and looked. 2 days after Mitt Romney said it would be ill-timed and ill-considered, those comments by then-candidate Obama, he was asked about that criticism by George Stephanopoulos at a presidential debate. Watch what happened.
Governor Romney, you said you didn't agree with Obama's plan. You called it ill-timed and ill-considered. So what do you do?
For a person running for the president of the United States to get on TV and say, we're going to go into your country unilaterally. Of course, America always maintains our option to do whatever we think is in the best interest of America. But we don't go out and say, ladies and gentlemen of Germany, if ever there was a problem in your country, we didn't think you were doing the right thing, we reserve the right to come in and get them out. We don't say those things. We keep our options quiet.
Lars? Did his re-election team take Mitt Romney out of context?
Yeah, they did, because what they were talking about at the time, and I remember discussing this on my radio show, is the fact that the candidate Obama was saying we will go into any other country and we will effectively wage war. We'll commit acts of war. They weren't talking about going after bin Laden specifically, but now the Obama campaign is trying to say, you see, that's what he was saying he would do about bin Laden. At the time, candidate Obama was saying, I'll act unilaterally. I'll go into countries that are at least allegedly our allies, like Pakistan, and I'll go in whether we've talked to him about it or not. That would be considered an act of war. Can you imagine if some other foreign country sent troops into our country and blew things up or dropped bombs on us? It's a whole different context that we're talking about here.
Leslie, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, first of all, Lars, I would agree that on both sides, when there is any kind of a campaign, especially presidential, there are things taken out of context. Like last November, when Mitt Romney and his camp had an ad about the president making a statement in New Hampshire, not even taken out of context, but entirely different words than the president said with regards to the economy. So, you got to be careful when you're standing in those glass houses throwing stones. With regard to what happened with Osama bin Laden, with regard to what the president said as a candidate, what the president did as a president, and what Mitt Romney has said. One of the problems that I have as a voter in looking at candidates, if I were not going to vote for a Democrat, which I haven't always done, surprise, surprise, is I want to know, where does this man standing on the GOP platform soon stand on these types of issues? And one of the problems I have, Lars, with Mr. Romney is it seems that his answers change depending on his audience. His answer to George Stephanopoulos, very different, I think, than what he was saying on the radio, because I think it was a different audience. And that's what bothers me. This is a guy that he was pro-choice. He's now pro-life. He was in favor of mandate in the state of Massachusetts. He's not in favor of a mandate with the Affordable Care Act on a federal national level.
Was Mitt Romney inconsistent on the radio interview versus the debate?
No. I think we were talking about different subjects and different questions about different specific issues, and now President Obama is trying to bring this forward and saying this is what he would have done with Osama bin Laden. The fact is that to have somebody like Bill Clinton, who passed on 4 different opportunities to kill bin Laden, carry your water for you and suggest, well, you know, we know that Mitt Romney, Governor Romney, would not go and kill bin Laden, is crazy. And the fact is that the president is now taking his victory lap, trying to claim credit for a gutsy maneuver. It wasn't gutsy to sit in Washington and say, kill bin Laden, because if that team had been unsuccessful and bin Laden wasn't there, we never would have heard about any of this. It would have been one more of those myriad of secret operations that our men and women in the military carry out all the time, and we wouldn't have heard about it. There was even a memo written by then CIA Director Panetta so that it would have insulated the president from any responsibility if this mission had not gone as well as it did. It did go well, and now the president's taking credit.
Leslie, did the president misstep in making this a shot at Romney to begin with? You know, there's been a lot of criticism over the past couple of days since he came out with that ad saying, go ahead and, you know, take note. Here we are on the 1-year anniversary of bin Laden's killing, something that, you know, you don't want to use the word celebrate necessarily. I don't, maybe you do, but something that all Americans paid a lot of attention to and something for which a lot of us were very grateful. So take note of it. Give credit to the SEALs, to the men and women of the military. Don't put credit on yourself, even though Americans will give it to you. And don't make it into something political, something Arianna Huffington, not exactly a conservative pundit, called despicable. One of the most despicable things you can do, she said.
Well, I don't think it's honestly, I think it's despicable to say that anyone would exactly do this or that if they did not say that exact quote. However, I think all's fair, unfortunately, or all has become fair in a presidential election year. I don't think it's despicable for the president to point out what he has done that is favorable to the world and to the American people and has been to the betterment of this country and the world with regards to foreign policy, with the man that he's going to be running against, Mitt Romney, his camp, the GOP, my buddies like Lars on the right, who attack his foreign policy. And he is in a fight. This is going to be a fight for this seat. This is going to be nail-biter. And the mudslinging has begun. And it will not end, and Mr. Romney will sling some Mr. Obama's way, President Obama's way, I'm sure.
All righty. Leslie, Lars, we'll have you back to debate that when it happens, like tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.